So I'm just gonna insert right here the reaction that I had at the end of this episode that I posted in my Instagram stories.
Wait a minute. I'm like, what the fuck was that? That's how it ends? Wait, that better be a part 2 next week. I'm gonna fuck somebody up.
And I don't think I really have anything else to say after that. And welcome to my safe gaming, guys. I'm like trying to push through this review because I'm like super sleepy. Like I wasn't even gonna record, but I was like, you know what, just push through. Because I haven't slept since I got off work this morning, and it is now almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to work tonight. So yeah, you guys didn't come here to hear all that, but I'm just like trying to keep my eyes open right now. But regardless of all of that, thank you so much for joining me here for another review on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If you could do me a favor, and if you love watching my videos and you enjoy the fact that I'm foregoing sleep to put this video out, if you could do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up and like button. It'll really help out with the YouTube algorithm and the channel. I said this in another video, but I'm like, always to ask to please hit the like button, and then maybe, for example, I'll get like 400 views on the video and only 30 people will hit the like button. So guys, please, again, if you are watching this video, please hit the like button, because you don't realize how much it does actually help with the algorithm and getting my video out there, pushing it into people's recommended feed so more people can find my channel, so the channel can continue to grow. And if you happen to be one of those people, this is your first time watching me, hey, welcome to my safe gaming. Hope you like what you see and you stay and check out my other videos. But yeah, guys, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's another Marvel show. So if you couldn't tell from the title, we are talking episode 6 of Marvel's What If. So if you have not seen episode 6, first of all, go watch that episode because it was amazing, and then come back here. So yeah, we're talking spoilers. So yeah, so let's jump into this episode 6, entitled What If Killmonger Rescued Tony Stark. So guys, even though I'm talking into the camera, it's not just a conversation with me. I need you in the comments. Let me know, what did you think about this episode? Where does this episode rank now that we're pretty much a little bit more than halfway through this first season? Because I believe there are 10 episodes and now this is episode 6. So where does this episode rank for you? I need you to like, comment, interact for the algorithm. Now let's get into the episode. Yeah, like I said, I thought this episode was amazing. I think the kids say, oh, it slapped. Yeah, this episode slapped. Oh, I feel so old saying that, even though I'm not even that old, but still, like. And I'm gonna just come right out and say it. This was my favorite episode of the 6 episodes, and I find it funny when I really think about it, that, because I said before my favorite episode was episode 3, and now it's episode 6. But after thinking about how this is my favorite episode, I was just like, especially considering episode 3 was there before, I was like, is it a little telling that my 2 favorite episodes are the episodes in which Tony Stark is dead? And not only just dead, but he's murdered. I was just like, is that a coincidence? It can't be a coincidence at this point. Like, so basically, if Tony Stark dies in the episode, I can guarantee it's going to be my favorite. Because Tony Stark is the biggest villain of the MCU. Fight me. I said what I said. But no, but even outside that, that's not actually why this episode was my favorite. It just happened to be 2 episodes where he died, and I love both of those episodes. But like, I liked everything about this episode. Well, not everything. I will talk about my criticisms a little bit later. But the thing that I really enjoy about a lot of these what if shows is, and I said this before, is because now that the MCU is pretty much established, we're looping back to all these other moments within the MCU and still connecting it to the greater world. So here you have this episode taking place during Iron Man 1. You're still seeing characters in places like Wakanda, T'Challa, Shuri, Okoye, King T'Chaka, Ulysses Claw, Killmonger, except characters who you know did not exist when the MCU first came about in 2008 during Iron Man 1. But a lot of this totally makes sense when you think about it. Like, when you think about when Killmonger first showed up in Black Panther, he did say he did a bunch of tours in the Middle East, and Tony Stark was in the Middle East. So the fact that the 2 of them ran into each other and he was a Navy SEAL, I'm like, oh yeah, this totally works and it totally makes sense. But going back to the interconnectivity of this episode didn't just focus on Iron Man 2. It had connections to Age of Ultron with, like I said, Ulysses Claw, and his connection to vibranium and Wakanda. I mean, obviously with Killmonger being from Wakanda, you got moments from the Black Panther movie. So basically this movie was connecting Iron Man, Age of Ultron, and Black Panther. And also from like a character perspective, this episode, and as well as most of the MCU, just continues to show how irresponsible Tony Stark essentially is. Yeah, he might be a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, but he's also an irresponsible genius, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. Because yes, I understand that Killmonger did literally just save his life, but at the end of the day, he still doesn't know this man. But yet he was willing to give him all control over his company, not even just as head of security, but then he also made him the COO, the chief operational officer. And it's like, you don't know you don't know his qualifications. You don't know if he can run the company, just like he did with Pepper in Iron Man 2. Like, yeah, Pepper was obviously qualified to do it, and she did do the job, and she probably did the job better than him. But it's not like she asked for the job. She actively campaigned for the job. He just shirked off the responsibility to her. And because of her level of caring and devotion to Tony Stark, she took it on. But it wasn't a job that she asked for. And he gave it to her because he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to take responsibility for his own company, for weapons that he created that destroyed a lot of people's lives, including his own, which is part of the reason he became Iron Man in the first place, because of the shrapnel that was in his heart. And then also getting kidnapped by the Ten Rings, which, speaking of, we get a lot of references to the Ten Rings in this episode, again looping back to Iron Man 1, and how now that we know what we know, spoilers for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and how Wenwu allowed for other people to appropriate and use the organization of the Ten Rings to keep his name alive in the world. And with Killmonger being so strategic, maniacal, intelligent, and not only just that, he has all that level of access from being in the Navy SEALs, he was able to out Obadiah Stane before he was able to become the Ironmonger at the end of Iron Man 1, and was basically ousted as the current COO of Stark Industries, preventing that whole storyline from happening. But yeah, I just thought this episode was damn near perfect. Getting to see a young Shuri, because again, this movie takes place mostly during Iron Man 1. And so this is basically like 10, because Black Panther came out in 2018. So this is basically 10 years before the first Black Panther movie. So naturally, of course, all the characters would be younger. Michael B. Jordan is around my actual real life age. So I'm assuming Killmonger is also around Michael B. Jordan's age. So obviously 10 years ago when the MCU first came out, I was 25, and so Killmonger would be around that age too. The thing that was kind of sad about this episode, and it's not this episode's fault, but this episode was shot and filmed and recorded and edited and everything like that long before Chadwick Boseman passed away. And the fact that a lot of this episode dealt with the death of T'Challa, I was just like, man, I'm still not ready to have this greater conversation within the MCU going forward with Black Panther 2. Because it's one thing to have it in this, which was supposed to be an Elseworld story. It's not supposed to be canon, but we're kind of already going to get it in Black Panther 2. Well, or maybe, because we don't really know what they're going to do with the character of T'Challa in Black Panther 2. I still stand by the fact that I think he should be recast, but I'm not the one making the decisions here. And who knows, they might still recast. He just might not be in part 2, but then a new actor could come in for part 3. I don't know yet, but it's still just like, oh man, this is coming eventually, because Black Panther 2 comes out, I think, next year. So hearing Queen Ramonda and the Dora Milaje screaming like, "For T'Challa" at the end, I was just like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm still not ready for this. But speaking of something I was ready for, like how cool, and I get that you could do it in animation, it's harder to do in live action, because Angela Bassett, I think, is in her 70s now. Hold on, let me check. How old is Angela Bassett? Oh, dang, I done went way up in age. She's 63, but even still, like, being 63, she's not able to move the way animated Queen Ramonda did. So I was, like, hyped and excited to see Queen Ramonda get some respect and get to be badass as hell leading the Dora Milaje in this episode. Because, you know, obviously she's 10 years older. Yeah, she still might be in her 50s, but how many movies and action franchises do we get with much older men able to be kick-ass and badass? But yeah, when it comes to women, as soon as they hit like 35, they're considered old in terms of like action movies. Like, bullshit. It's a movie. Even if it's not a fantasy movie and it takes place in more realism, it's still a movie. It's all fantasy. So let older women be badass action stars too. Again, I know it's harder because it's live action, but whatever, they make it work with like Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Cruise. Well, Tom Cruise might be a little anomaly because he be doing some crazy stuff in those Mission Impossible movies. But yeah, Queen Ramonda being as badass as she was in this episode, I was here for all of that. But the thing that I have questions regarding is, we know Nick Fury obviously still exists in this world, and with Tony Stark not becoming Iron Man, obviously he won't try to recruit Tony Stark as part of his Avengers Initiative, but he still has the Avengers Initiative. We learned from Captain Marvel that he's been trying to start that since the 90s. But not even just with that, but like, isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. a hand of the government? And we know the U.S. government is going to war with Wakanda, a war that they will never be able to possibly win. But yet, I'm like, where's S.H.I.E.L.D. in all of this? But yeah, but I feel like out of all the episodes, this was like the first major cliffhanger of all the 6, where I was just like, wait, that can't be how it ended. Like, give me another half an hour, or like I said in my intro or my Instagram stories, I was like, there better be a freaking part 2 next week. Like, that better not be it. I need to know more of this story, more to the conclusion of this. Like, what happened? I would be super mad if we don't get another part to this story. But with that said, I did say I had some criticisms about this episode, and it's not really a lot. Like, I still love this episode, and I will say this is my favorite of the 6. But for this episode to focus heavily on Michael B. Jordan, or as I would say, Michael Bay Jordan. Everybody, y'all know, if y'all been watching my channel for any length of time, y'all know but yeah, Michael B. Jordan is one of the people I sip on the thirst cup with. And despite all of that, I do feel like his acting performance, the vocal performance, the voice acting in this episode was pretty weak. And it's not even just him. I feel that about a lot of these MCU I feel like the voice performance from Sebastian Stan as Bucky in both episode 5 and in episode 1. I feel like it was weak. Like, I feel like Mark Ruffalo's voice acting in episode 3 and in last week's episode, I feel like that was weak. And now you got Michael B. Jordan. And then even Chadwick Boseman, I think it's last week's episode, I wasn't really feeling his vocal performance that much, which I know, blasphemy. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the vocal performances in this show are like phoned in. More so, I feel like the most obvious were Mark Ruffalo from last week and now Michael B. Jordan from this week. But yeah, certain line deliveries, a lot of the line delivery, especially the more aggressive and intense and menacing line delivery, like I just wasn't feeling it. Like, it just sounded like, you know, to throw a Buffy reference in there, he was going through the motions. But like I said, it wasn't so bad that it completely took me out of the episode and that I didn't enjoy this episode. So yeah, I think that's pretty much my only real criticism, and that's really all I have to say. So yeah, I loved it. But side note, lastly, I do think it's kind of funny though, because we know from Iron Man 1 that Terrence Howard was Rhodey. And then you get to this episode, it's like, nope, it was always Don Cheadle. at least in this universe, because it is a what if story. So also do like, even though they made him hella light skinned, because Jeffrey Wright, who is a black man, is voicing the Watcher, they are making his features more black-like, as opposed to like in the comics, the Watcher, not to say he looks white, he doesn't have the same level of obviously black features. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have any much else to say. I need to hurry up and finish, because like I said, I gotta go to sleep. I work tonight. But anyway, yeah, the question is, I'm done rambling. What did you guys think about this episode? What does this episode rank for you? Did you have the same problem that I perhaps had with regards to Michael B. Jordan's vocal performance, or do you feel like everything about it was perfect? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you can, again, hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out the channel. And again, if this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more. And hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video or post an alert that I'm going to go live. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.